So, Module 7, Day 2 homework starts off with vocabulary, and you're basically naming each of the following. So, when I look at a diameter is a segment whose endpoints are on the circle and goes through the center. If I look, AB would be the diameter, and we do have to name these correctly, so put the correct symbols above the letters. Now, a radius goes from the center to a point on the circle, and if I look, segment CD starts at the center and goes to the circle. So that would be your radius. Now a chord. In this diagram, there really isn't a chord. But if we had to name one, you could say the diameter is a chord. Or instead of looking at EF as a line, if we name EF as a segment, that would be a chord. If we look at EF as being a line, that would be a secant, right? Now, the tangent line here would be line GH, okay, because it intersects the circle at one point. And that point it intersects is the point of tangency, which is point A, okay? So right away here, remember, the measure of the central angle and the arc are congruent. Right? So, or equal, I should say. Angle ACB is going to be 90 degrees because that arc is 90 degrees. Okay. Angle AC, this should be B. I don't know why that got cut off, right? But since it's half a circle, right, that means that this is a straight angle, which means it's 180 degrees. Okay. Arc PQ is going to be 135 degrees. That central angle is 135 degrees. The arc is 135 degrees. Now, for number 5, here they're looking for arc WXY. Remember, if it's named using 3 points, right, we basically are using the arc that's greater than 180 degrees. So we don't know the measure of this arc right now, but if this central angle is 160, this is 160, and what do these two arcs have to add up to? 360. So 360 minus 160 is 200 degrees, right? So remember, a full circle is 360 degrees. All right. For number 6, we're going to find the following measures. Okay, arc RS we know is 60 degrees. If the central angle is 60, the arc is 60. QS, we're basically going to add these two arcs together. So 40 plus 60 gives you 100 degrees. Now, QRP, I'm actually going to follow that in the order they give me. QRP, what am I going to do? I'm going to add all 3 of those arcs. So I'm basically going to do 40 plus 60 plus 120 would give me 220 degrees. Okay. Now, our QP, here's the difference with this, guys, is that's named using 2 letters. So instead of going the long distance, here I go the short distance. Remember, if it's named using 2 points, it's 180 degrees or less. Well, the easiest way to find this one is to basically do 360 minus 40 minus 60 minus 120, right? And that would give you 140 degrees. Okay? Let's take a look at the next one. KN and JL are diameters. Find the measure of each arc. Okay, first thing I'm going to do is just find the measure of all the arcs right away. So when I look at this, if this is 60 degrees, these are vertical angles right here. So I know that's 60 degrees. Now, what do all 3 of these angles have to add up to? All right, they make a straight angle, so 180 minus 60 minus 55. So 180 minus 60 minus 55 would give me 65 degrees. And these 2 angles add up to 180. So this is 120 degrees. Now I know the measure of all of these arcs. Okay, so arc KL, right away, the central angle is 60, so the arc is 60. LNK, remember, that's going to be 180 degrees or more. L to N all the way to K. So when we look at this one, they are looking LNK. There's two ways we can go about this one. One, we can add up all these arcs. Okay, we could basically do 65 plus 55 plus 60 plus 120, which is going to give me, what is that? That's going to give me 300 degrees. The other way to do this problem is, if you're including all of these arcs except this one, can't I just take 360 and subtract that 60-degree arc and get 300 degrees? Okay, NJK, if I look right there, that's just going to be a half a circle, so that's 180 degrees. ML is just 65 degrees. JM, if I look at J all the way to M, that's going to be 60 plus 55, which is 115 degrees. MN obviously is 55 degrees. MKN, right? So M to K to N, that's all the way from, that's M to K all the way around to N. I personally think the easiest way to figure this one out is do 360 and subtract the one arc that's not included, which is 55 degrees, and you would get 305 degrees. Angle MQL is just 65 degrees. Angle JQN, we said, was 60 degrees. And arc LN, right away, if I look L to N, right, is going to be 65 plus 55, which will give you 120 degrees. Okay? So going back to the lesson the other day, right, find the circumference and areas of the circles. So right away, we're given the diameter here. So the circumference is pretty easy. That's just going to be diameter times pi, which is 22.6 pi yards. Now, if we found the approximate here, right, 22.6 pi would give you about 70.9999. So this would be approximately 80 yards. Now, remember the area of a circle is pi times the radius squared. So pi times, if I'm given the diameter is 22.6, I'm going to find the radius by taking half of that. So if I take 22.6 divided by 2, you get 11.3. So it's pi times 11.3 squared, which gives you 127.69 pi, right, which is approximately 401.1. And that would be yards squared. Okay? The next one, we're given the radius here. If the radius is 8.6, the circumference, we're going to do 2 times pi times the radius. So 2 times pi times 8.6. 2 times 8.6 will give me 17.2 pi, which is approximately, right, 54.03. So we'll just go 54.04, and that would be inches. Okay? The area would just be pi times 8.6 squared. 8.6 squared gives you 73.96 pi. Right? And if I go ahead and multiply that out, you end up getting 232.4, right? And that would be inches squared. Okay? Now, Find the area of a circle whose circumference is 30 pi. If the circumference is 30 pi, then we know the diameter times pi is 30 pi. If I divide by pi, right, the diameter is 30. Well, if I need to find the area, I need to find the radius. So if the diameter is 30, I know the radius is half of that. So when I divide that by 2, I would get 15. So area would be pi times 15 squared, which is going to give you 225 pi. And that would be inches squared. Okay. Number 10, find the circumference of a circle whose area is 113.1 inches squared. So remember, the area is 113.1. That's already multiplying pi. So we know pi times the radius squared is equal to 113.1. And if we go ahead and divide both sides by pi, the radius squared is equal to, I'm actually going to do 113.1 divided by pi. And when I do that, I get 36. And when I take the square root, I get the radius is 6. So the circumference then would be 2 times pi times the radius. 2 times pi times 6 will give you 12 pi, which would give you 12 pi inches is what the circumference would be. Okay? And number 11, they give you angle DBC, right? Angle DBC. Oh. My pen's not working real well here. All right, that is going to be 24. All right, so that's 24 degrees, and DC is going to be 4. So they want us to find the circumference of the circle. Okay, so to find the circumference of the circle, okay, I'm basically going to use trig to find this diameter. So if I can find that diameter, that's huge, right? So this is the side opposite, right? This is the hypotenuse, which is going to give me the sine ratio. So the sine of 24 degrees, come on, is equal to 4 over segment BC. So right away we would get BC is equal to 4 divided by the sine of 24, right? And 4 divided by the sine of 24 would give me about 9.83. So right away the circumference of this would be 9.83 pi, right? Which is about 30.9, and that would be units. Okay, so again, I'm sorry about the writing here. That's sine of 24. This is the hypotenuse. That's the opposite. That's actually 4, and that's 24. My pen went crazy there. All right. If you have any further questions, please let me know.